Good morning. I'm Victoria Savage, Nurse Savage, on your side, your wisdom guided oracle, and we're having coffee in my hair. The hair was standing up. The great hair battle. How are you this morning? How are things with you? We was just telling people yesterday. Oh, and it's snowing again. We rarely get much snow, all of that. And we woke up this morning to about 4 inches of snow. It is very heavy snow. Temperatures are warm. It'll likely be gone by this evening, maybe tomorrow, but it is so gorgeous right now. I always appreciate that. And one of the things I appreciate most about snow is the quiet it brings, the quietness, the ease, the ability to just settle in. And sometimes it means, reevaluate what I'm supposed to be doing today because maybe going out isn't going to be the thing that I do. Many years of commuting, I commuted in snow quite often and have no issue with that. But for some, it's a real challenge. Speaking of challenges, the big F word is up again, the energy of fear. I put on my Valentine earrings. I wear them, this time every year just because the heart, the focus. And this, I just keep seeing my lovely friends that are posting now in my age group. We are living, and many of us have just Social Security, and the whipping up into a frenzy of my lovely friends who are listening to the news a lot. And so I was thinking about that as it was just like, oh my gosh, here we are again. And I posted on fear a couple days ago, and I got some insights from others. And so this really is a clarification about the fear energy and what it means. Got my love mug. Again, this is February. This is the month of love, and love what you do what you love. And I have another mug that says more love. Never be too much love. And so we will begin. The overarching message, the theme for this reading is I'm going to make sure there was another card here that I think, because I was looking up, again, I don't read tarot. I do know some of them. But the 8 of Air, this beautiful, beautiful card. And hopefully you can see this. I was just having a conversation with a friend yesterday about the quality of the camera that I have had on for my lives here and on my computer. And they were suggesting that maybe I needed a better camera, and I don't disagree. Well, this morning when I went to plug it in, I have an adapter that goes into my computer, and I took it off. I don't know where it's at. And so the young man that makes my videos into shorts is probably going to be a little disappointed because I don't have the better camera, and I am likely to be getting an even better camera. Good morning, Jeannie. She says we have 6 inches. Oh, 6 inches. Could put my glasses on, but where would the fun be in that? On snowing more. Yes, it is. And I do too love it. One of my birch trees out there, one of the sides of it is very heavily laden. So I am hoping that it does not break under the weight of this. So the 8 of Air, beautiful, beautiful card. Let's look at, now you see these 2 swords, and you see one is, aiming at his hand, indeed cutting his hand. There's blood there. And the other one is pointing to the sky. And I looked this up, but then I looked up the other cards. Let's look at what the 8 of Air means. We have a lot of water cards today too. Much the flow as in air. So 6, sorry for the delay. The Eight of Air. Ah, yes. The ego does not always tell the truth. Effect will always follow cause. We are creatures driven by our egos. Our ego is in part our identity, the center of our consciousness. It is driven by our instincts and base desires and constrained by culture and society. It can have us feeling confident and certain, or it can have us feeling uncertain and afraid. It can also employ one of several different mechanisms to shield us from uncomfortable truths or a reality that we are not ready or willing to accept. So this is, we the ego does pull us one side or the other depending on our history, our patterning, our life experiences. And my life experiences are very different than your life experiences. That's what gives us different perspectives and allows us to see things in a different manner. So as I perused my social media channels again this morning, and I saw more posts and more justification by folks as to why they're in fear. And the acronym that goes around my community and has for years is fear is false evidence appearing real. And here is the truth. The thing that my friends are most in fear of is what is going on with Elon Musk and the Doge department, and delving into the treasury and how the USAID money has been spent. And the thing that's being propagated out in the media to whip particularly those of us of an age into fear is they're going to stop Social Security. And I'm so fearful because this is what I live on, and on and on. And I remember being reminded years ago that the things that I imagine within the future and I'm projecting as possibilities when I'm whipped into a place of fear, whether I've done it to myself, I've allowed it in from media sources or whatever, is that what I imagine is never the truth of what happens. And thank God, because what I imagine is generally pretty catastrophic. And that habit is called catastrophizing. The truth is, and this may just piss some of you off, and that's okay. I'm pretty done listening and taking in and not bringing out another perspective. Nothing has yet happened to your Social Security. You are getting your check this month. You have the same resources you had 2 months ago, 6 months ago. Nothing real has taken place. And yet you are being whipped into a fear state, which is weighing on your physical, your mental, your emotional, your relational aspects, and taking you to a place that is untrue. There is nothing that has been taken away from you or us. And I submit nothing is going to be taken away from us. That would be, and of course, you've been also whipped into the fear that the worst thing that could happen happened when Trump got elected and was inaugurated. I remember 2016 when the same crap came around just over and over. And all those things that people were whipped into fear about, very few happened. And so again, our imaginings can take us, our egos, in wanting to hold our ground in believing that the worst possible thing happened. And so the worst possible results are going to happen. Those worst possible results did not happen last time. And those worst possible results are likely not to happen this time. But we are being whipped into this fear energy, which is so controllable, so manipulative. It is, and it does not serve us in any way, shape, or form, because then what we're going out into the world and sharing is more fear, more chaos, more upheaval, more strife, more anxiety, more deaths by suicide. I mean, it is shameful what is going on right now. And so I invite you to go back to remember you are the one that can work your energy. This is what I've been teaching for years. This is my stance. And the other absolute truth about energy is that I can adjust my vibration, which means I am adjusting what I share out into the world in my posts, in my words, in my proximity of people I come into, who I work with on the internet. It is my responsibility to mind my energy. Nobody else can do that for me. Nobody else is responsible for what I bring into the world. And so I invite you to consider the present. What is really true for you right now? In my experience, I can usually do the present. And the future is something I will create in just horrible ways. Now, why most of us have a habit of catastrophizing, I don't know. Could be from trauma, childhood related this lifetime, could be energies that we brought in from ancestors, could be past life energies. But nothing that is not real in your life should be controlling how you are vibrating in this world. If you have adamantly true fears in your life that are causing you to be in fear, then again, I invite you to manage your energy, because also when we're in fear, we're in fight or flight energy, which really pulls all the blood to our vital organs and out of our brain, giving us less ability to make sane, conscious, sound decisions. So we want to bring ourselves back into a place of the center, the balance within us in order to make the decisions. If you're an activist, that's going to give you better thought processes of how to work in your activity, your action. But reaction is never a place to be trying to form something, trying to get something done. Be in action, but you have to bring yourself back to center, bring yourself up into a higher vibration. And then I advise you be open, willing, and ready to receive the action. Do I think the activists are wrong? No, except for when it is not truly their action. It is in reaction, because it's not going to go the way they want it to go if they are in reaction. And we have been whipped on all sides into reaction. So the next card that came up was, again, this beautiful child, and it came up in reverse. And this is, as children, we are dependent on our parents to provide, to give us wisdom, to lead us safely through this world. And the child in reverse, good morning, Maggie and Kim and Julia. Julia, before you were on, probably, I said I didn't even have my better camera than my computer camera this morning. So I will be looking for another camera setup. But the child in reverse is about, it's time to pull up those big boy, big girl panties and be responsible for your actions. One of the two things I wanted to raise my children with was, you are responsible for what you do. Nobody makes you do anything. And you can do whatever you choose to do in this life if you are willing to put in the energy necessary, the time, the years of schooling, the money, whatever. You can do and create what you desire in this world, but you have to be willing to be responsible enough to take the energy and put in enough energy into it. So it is time for the childlike ways of being led by the hand or by the nose ring, whatever it is. And it's time to be responsible for what you're carrying into the world and what you're doing. That may well be activism. And I applaud you activists. I'm not that big energy. That's never been my energy. And actually, this video is probably one of the bigger acts of activism, because it's probably going to piss a lot of my friends off. The truth is, in the light worker, way shower world, there are many very far left people, or left. I don't even know far left is true. There are also many right wing, but I am left of center, and I don't hold into much of the victimhood that the real far left has propagated for many years, because again, victims are very malleable and easily led. And so I rarely express, because most of the people that I play with have a liberal bent. I rarely express my opinions because it is not my nature to alienate or be an activist. It is my nature to go, you get to believe what you want, and I get to believe what I want. That doesn't make me think any less of you. But, years ago when I was involved in religion, I started going to church at age 4, lived in wherever I could go to church, and lived in 17 houses before age 9. Went to lots of churches. Then after age 9, started at the Baptist church until 13 or 14, probably 15, because I was old enough to drive then. I got tired of hearing the preacher preach about why all the other religions were wrong, because I had experienced the other, many of them, and I understood the differences in people and buildings and the feelings as I went into these churches. So then I went to an interdenominational church after that, and then went to Oral Roberts University, and I discerned for myself what was true and what was right for me. I don't have the same experiences you do. And I allow you your right to believe the way you want. But also, what has happened media wise over the last several years, since, well, before 2016, but is that demonizing of those who don't think like you, those who have different stances, the total cutting off of all of that. Again, the intention to be divisive. And that is what is happening now and it's happening the same way it did in 2016, in the whipping up of all that is happening in this world, and then the continuation of that as much as possible. So when I posted, whatever brings you into a state of fear, move away from it. Basically, I was saying, turn off the damn television, quit listening to everybody's opinions about what is going on. Find a news source that gives you the headlines, no bias, one way or the other, like news used to be, and engage in that news source so that you know what is going on in the world, but you are not being whipped and manipulated into a belief system of things that could possibly happen and that are not real. What is true for you right now? The next card that came up was the 6 of water. And this is such a gorgeous, these are all, again, free flow. This is water, flow. And this card represents healthy boundaries. That is what you do when you disengage from the sources of angst and fear and whipping us into frenzies of either side, one side or the other. That is what this is. It's like, what is true for you? Bring yourself back in to a balanced energy, bringing in more love, because when you're in a state of love, you are in balance and you can see clearly. Again, when you are in flight or fight, fear, fawn, where you're frozen, you do not have the intellectual capabilities that you have when you choose to manage your own energy and bring yourself into balance. This world is moving and shifting into another way of being on the planet. Physiologically, Mother Earth is bringing us things that are incredibly unusual. Currently, the volcano, or the island of Santorini, is experiencing lots of earthquakes. The volcano erupted a couple years back and, took out resorts, all this beautifulness that, again, kind of like one of those Mother Earth purging, when people come and they're crapping all over Mother Earth, so to say. So when lots of people come to a place that is pretty pristine and they start ruining it, Mother Earth will often react. What that looks like, some people believe Atlantis will be rising. To me, again, it's one of those, oh, that's possible. Do I have to, be in fear about this shifting sands of the earth? It's not the best idea, because the truth is we want to be holding higher vibration. My truth is right now, I've got 6 inches of beautiful snow. Yeah, 6 inches of beautiful snow outside. It's quiet. It slows life down. That is my truth that I get to engage in, hold, and relax into. The truth is, where you are may be a tumultuous place. You choosing to come back into your center serves as help. There is never help available to those around us when we are whipped into a frenzy of chaos and angst and powerlessness and fear. There is never a way we get to help people from that energy. We must come back to center. The next card that came up is again, a flow card. The 8 of water, a water card. We've got 1 air card, 2 water cards, and then we've got a couple fire cards. The 8 of water is about creating personal environment that is positive for yourself. That can mean doing energy work that brings you into a greater centered peace. That means maybe breath work is a thing. If you are whipped up into a state of fear, and you know that when you're breathing fast and your heart's beating fast, and the truth is, nothing in your personal environment right now is causing that. If you need to be in flight, fight, running, then absolutely do that. If you're running from a real fear, run. But the truth is, we are getting whipped into irreverent, hateful, divisional, fear-based energy when the truth before us is totally the opposite. If I chose to listen to either side regularly, and I hear them, I live with a news junkie. And so walking through, he knows when I come and sit down, he very lovingly just hands me the remote and I turn it to something, whatever, if I'm going to watch TV, some lighthearted something. But so I hear it. And there are times when I just go, oh, okay. But the truth is, right now, I have everything I need. I have a beautiful visage outside my window that makes me feel lovely. And there is nothing threatening me. So I'm going to bring myself back into center. Breath work is a very good tool for that. It helps quiet our vagus nerve response to that flight, fight information. Create a positive environment for yourself. And that is a very personal directed card right now. The next card that came up is the Ace of Fire. Look at that. It came up in reverse. The Ace of Fire is clarify your desires, because uncertainty is being stirred up within you. Good morning, Pamela. Uncertainty is being stirred up. You want to get back to, what do you want in this world? What do you want to bring in? Because that is what we are going to be creating with our energy. When you're focused on all that can possibly be wrong and go wrong, when I was in nursing school, my daughters were young. And as I was going through pediatric rotation, I remember if my daughter had a tummy ache, the first thing that came to my mind was, does she have an appendicitis? And I would go do that, whatever test it's called, but on her. And if something else happened, I would go to the worst possible case scenario. And then as I continued on in nursing school, I remember thinking on more than one occasion, it's amazing that everything works so well when all that can go wrong is possible. The hypochondriac, focuses on all that can go wrong. And I also remember as a child, I was 7 or 8, and I woke up and I had this kind of pain in my hip. Turns out I have a wonky hip, but it wasn't awful. But I also kind of didn't want to go to school that day. And so I focused on this and told my mom I didn't feel good. My hip hurt. I couldn't go to school. And she let me stay home. And I just kept focusing on that because I was playing really hard to keep that reality. And then I started to feel kind of nauseous. I kind of got a headache. I didn't feel real good. And I remember, because I was given the gift of wisdom, going, ooh, because I was thinking I felt crappy, I really started feeling crappy. And so this truth that you have in front of you is being manipulated and whipped into a frenzy of untruths because we're willing to engage. And so when you withdraw and you get back to what is true for you, and you start focusing on what you absolutely desire, then you are creating that in the world. Our ability to manifest things for many of us doesn't happen, like that. For others, it does. There is usually things we need to learn within what we see as a non-forward movement in what we're trying to create. And so it becomes this, well, I'm not very good at that anyway. So look at all that stuff that's wrong. I've been trying to create this, and look at, oh my gosh, that terrible stuff happened. When you go back from a place of victim to empowerment and you go, okay, I'm creating this with my energy, my vibration, my words, my thoughts, beliefs, then I get to be the designer. So I'm going to focus more on what I desire. I am guessing all my more liberal bent friends want utopia here and want better for everyone, enough for everyone, the love energy to be the pervasive energy coming through all outlets. And that's what I want. That's generally what we all want. It is the how of getting there that we have a divide on at times. But do focus on what you desire instead of what you're fearing, because you are working to create more of what you're fearing. All my lovely Social Security dependent friends, your check came this month, or it will be shortly. Everything is the same as it was a month ago, but you're being whipped into a frenzy of fear that that's going to be taken away. And it is not your truth right now. What is your truth? The last card that came up is balance, the masculine and feminine. That is it is an arcana card. It is not a number card. Balance, 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 balancing everything. This is it's specifically about the masculine and feminine, but we need to bring ourselves back into balance. Nobody can do that for us. They can sure whip us around if we engage. It's like a fight cannot happen because we did not engage. So I'm going to share something with you that happened. I shared it with the suicide class I taught last night. I'm a pretty nice person in most instances. Sometimes I'm not quite as nice. This was really not an occasion of me being nice. It was an occasion of holding my boundaries. So in traffic, I was going in the other day and there had been a wreck on the side of the road, or, on the other lane. And so, everybody was slowed down, and there were cars from the right-hand lane moving into the left-hand lane, and a couple cars moved in front, and there was one next to me. And so I slowed down and I let that car go in front. And this woman in this very expensive car speeded up right next to me and kept trying to to move in. And it was like, no, that's not happening. The boundary I was holding was, you don't get to manipulate me into, because you think you deserve something from me, that you're going to take it. I am very willing to let people in, and did. And, we've had those instances in traffic where the lanes are, already, they're supposed to be like that. And 90% of the time, people are just very, we all just let in a car at a time so that there's no issue. And this woman was demanding that I do that. And so I did not. So then the car behind me let her in. And then we quickly passed that wreck and she pulled into the left lane and stayed right next to me. We were at a light and stopped, and there were 4 car lengths empty in front of her. And of course, people needing to move into that. And she sat there and sat there. And I wouldn't engage with her. I would not look at her and let her unload her ire, her ilk, her frustration that she was carrying that day on me because it didn't belong to me. And, that was very much, I wasn't being ornery. I was holding my boundaries. And it was like, just because you believe you deserve something from me does not, I already gave one car and the one behind me gave you that thing too. But you thought you needed to be in front of me. And so I held my boundary. So it is in everyday life that we do us. We respect our own boundaries. We create within us the environment we want to live with. This is one of the longer videos I've had. But it is all up to us. No one else can do that for us, but we can allow them the opportunity to whip us into a frenzy of things that are not true for us. So I'm going to repost in another group that same thing and clarify, because there are some very real fears people are living with. That's not what this is about. This is about false evidence appearing real, things that are not your truth, that you are reacting to. So you do you create the environment you choose to live in, and you let the others go. Thank you so much for listening to me. If you believe this video information can help someone else, please like and share. And if you are on YouTube, I would greatly appreciate you joining my channel and subscribing. And if you are, just so triggered by what I have said, I invite you again to take what resonates with you and leave the rest. Because I can guarantee you there are other videos I will post that are going to resonate deeply with you. And you also may have to leave my environment. And that is your right. And you need to do just that. I send you so much love, so much peace, and so much ease as we journey together in these ever-shifting sands. I'm Victoria Savage, Nurse Savage on your side, your wisdom-guided oracle. I bid you peace.